These are steroid in nature, as earlier we discussed. They are derived from cholesterol. Okay, these each hormone is unique due to the presence of different functional groups attached at various sites on the four rings at core of its structure. These small differences allow for a large diversity of functions. These group 1 hormones are mostly steroid hormones, as I said, act by changing the transcription note of specific genes in the DNA. Okay, group 1 hormones have a specific soluble oligomeric mobile receptors. Okay, these group 1 hormones have a specific soluble oligomeric mobile receptors either in the cytosol or in the nucleus. Okay, group 1 hormones are lipophilic in nature and can easily pass across the plasma membrane, binds with intracellular receptors located either in the cytosol or nucleus to form the hormone receptors. These are lipophilic in nature, okay, and can easily pass across the plasma membrane. These steroid hormones are easily passed across the plasma membrane, okay, and binds with the intracellular receptors. These binds with the intracellular receptors located either in the cytosol or in the nucleus. Okay, the nucleus to form hormone receptor complex. Okay, the hormone receptor complex is translocated to the nucleus and binds to the hormone recognizing acceptor site called the hormone responsible element. Okay, the hormone receptor complex is translocated. This hormone receptor complex is translocated to the nucleus and binds to the hormone recognizing acceptor site called hormone receptor element of the DNA strand on the upstream side of the promoter site for a specific steroid responsive gene. Okay, these causes increased expression of specific genes. This causes increased expression of specific genes. Through it promotes initiation and to a lesser extent elongation or and termination of RNA synthesis takes place. Okay, these results alternation of intracellular cone of mm, mRNA. These results alternation of intracellular cone of mRNA. Then alters the rate of synthesis of structural enzymatic carriers or receptor protein coded by that which is coded by that gene. Okay, the neutral action is in mediated through this neutral action is in mediated through intracellular receptors and not in mediator. Okay, since sufficient time is needed for transcription and translation process. Transcription means DNA synthesis and translation means mRNA synthesis process. Okay, next coming to the point, group 2 hormones. Okay. Mm, Group 2 hormones. Okay. Okay, let us discuss about this. These hormones bind to cell surface. Okay. Are you clear this diagram or are you able to see? Wait, I will enlarge. These are the group 2 hormones. These hormones bind to cell surface. Bind to cell surface. This is the cell surface. Okay. Here are you clear? Here, this is the cell surface. It's hormones bind to cell surface, nothing but it's the plasma membrane. Okay, cell surface receptors and stimulate the release of certain molecules, namely secondary messengers. Stimulate the release of certain molecules, namely secondary messengers to perform biological functions in the cell. Okay, for what purpose means to perform biological functions in the cell. Group 2 hormones are hydrophilic in nature. Okay, these are hydrophilic in nature, mm, usually transported in the free form in blood. Is usually transported in the free form of blood. Okay, group 2 hormones have short half life in minutes. Okay, whereas group 1 hormones are long half life, hours to days. Okay, most important secondary messengers are cyclic AMP, cyclic GMP, diacylglycerol, inositol 3-phosphate, calcium, nitric oxide. Okay, group most important secondary messengers are cyclic inosine monophosphate, cyclin cy- cyclic guanine monophosphate, diacylglycerol, inositol 3-phosphate, calcium, and nitric oxide. Okay, group 2 hormones are subdivided into three categories based on the chemical nature of the secondary messengers. Based on the chemical nature of the secondary messengers, the secondary messengers and cyclic AMP. Example: glucagon, calcitonin, parathyroid hormone, and epinephrine. Adrenocorticotropic hormone, thyroid stimulating hormones, luteinizing hormone, uh, follicle stimulating hormone. These are the secondary messengers and cyclic AMP. Okay, secondary messengers is inorganic phosphate, calcium, inositol 3-phosphate, calcium, and diacylglycerol. Okay, what are those means? Secondary messengers is inositol 3-phosphate, calcium, and diacylglycerol. Examples included under this is thyroid stimulating hormone, TSH. This is TSH. Mm, gon- GnRH, okay, and this is gastric. And okay, next coming to the point, secondary messengers are unknown. Okay, secondary messengers that are unknown means growth hormones, insulin, prolactin, oxytocin, etc. comes under this unknown. Okay, based on the mechanism of action of group 2 hormones, means group 2 hormones are mostly catecholamine, peptide, and protein hormones. Group 2 hormones are mostly catecholamines, peptides, and protein hormones. Okay, group 2 hormones diffuses from the blood. These group 2 hormones are nothing but steroid hormones. These are steroid hormones are diffused from the blood and binds to the receptor in target cell plasma membrane. These binds to the receptor in target cell plasma membrane. Okay. These binding activities another membrane protein called a G protein. These binding activities another membrane protein called G protein. Okay, G protein membrane. Okay, Mm, which activates adenylate cyclase or secondary messenger producing enzyme, which activates adenylate cyclase or secondary messenger producing enzyme. Okay, next coming to the point, activated enolate cyclase then converts ATP into cyclic AMP. Activated enolate cyclase then converts ATP into cyclic AMP. Okay, in the cytosol of the cell or activated secondary messengers. This cyclic AMP activates one or several protein kinases. This cyclic AMP activates one or several protein kinases. Okay, and that may be free in the cytosol or bound to the plasma protein, which is free to the cytosol or bound to the plasma membrane. Okay, activated protein kinase phosphorylate. This activated protein kinase further phosphorylated um, one or several other enzymes. Okay, the donor of the phosphate group is ATP, which is converted to ADP. The donor of the phosphate group is further converted into ATP, which further converted ATP into ADP. Okay. Phosphorylated enzymes are active or inactive in phosphorylation condition. Coming to the point, phosphorylated enzymes are active in phosphorylation or inactive in phosphorylation condition. Enzymes activated by phosphorylation in 10 catalyzes reactions that produce physiological response. Enzymes that are activated by phosphorylation, which are activated by the phosphorylation process, in turn catalyzes the reactions, okay, but that produce physiological response. Okay, millions of phosphorylated enzyme catalyzes reactions that produce physical response. Okay, Mm, this is the overview of classification of hormones. Okay, thank you.